Meet Mercedes' M5-fighter, though you may not notice if you passed it in traffic because it looks like a pretty standard E-Class. But everything that makes this 2019 Mercedes-AMG E63 S special happens behind the scenes, and that's what I like best about it. So grab shotgun with me and find out what makes this sports sedan special. Now, as I mentioned, one of the things that I like the most about the E63 is that it is a very good example of a modern Q car. And for those of you unfamiliar, a Q car is like James Bond's car. It looks like a regular car on the outside, but it's got all sorts of cool goodies on the inside. It's a sleeper, so to speak. This one looks like a regular E-Class when you walk up to it on the curb. It doesn't have crazy fender flares or a big spoiler. It's basically got slightly more aggressive wheels and brakes, an E63 badge out back, and a couple of bi-turbo badges on the front fenders. A passerby wouldn't even know that this is something special. Of course, you would. You'd know under the hood there is a 4-liter bi-turbo V8 engine making 603 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. And like all AMG engines, this one was hand-built by a single individual, a guy named Kevin in this case, who has the handwriting of a 5-year-old. The engine sounds fantastic, especially the bark and growl as the active exhaust opens up when you put it in its sportiest mode. And it's going to put all of that power through a 9-speed automatic transmission on its way to Mercedes' 4MATIC Plus, which is bespoke for the AMG models. It puts most of its power through the rear wheels. In fact, the E63 has a secret drift mode that you can activate to send 100% of power to the rear wheels. But we're not going to be doing any drifting on public roads today. Now, on the handling side of things, this car also stacks up nicely. The standard air suspension firms up in its sportiest settings, and it gives you really good feedback for what's happening and really good responsiveness for a car of this size. In fact, I might even say that in its race setting, the suspension is probably a bit too firm to enjoy on the road, but you got 3 settings to choose from and 3 ride heights. Overall, the E63's performance maybe doesn't feel as race car sharp as the M5, but I don't think that most people will notice that, for example, it's about 0.3 of a second slower to 60. It basically just feels like a really good sports car. Now, Mercedes does expect that you will take it to the track every now and then, so they have outfitted it with a couple of AMG race apps, which you can access in the infotainment system here. And that's going to allow you to do things like map out tracks and get live updates for shift points and braking zones and monitor all of your telemetry right here in the dashboard. It's really cool. Of course, the other part of the Q car formula is that when you put it in its comfort mode, this whole car just becomes a different vehicle and it's much more comfortable. The air suspension lifts up a little bit, gets a little bit softer, the engine quiets right on down, and this thing just becomes a very competent and very confident feeling luxury sedan. In the dashboard and around the cabin, we've got all the bells and whistles that you would expect from a top-tier Mercedes-Benz vehicle, including the 2-screen command infotainment system that we talk more about in a separate video. But we've also got a host of comfort features, including things like massage seats, ambient lighting, and so much more. We've even also got the complete host of Mercedes-Benz driver aid features at our fingertips, so we can actually settle into a very comfortable adaptive cruise control situation when we're just commuting. Given the choice between this and what I believe is its primary competitor, the BMW M5, I think that the M5 feels a little bit sharper in all of its modes. It's a little more race ready. But this car's comfort setting actually feels like a comfort setting. And that means that when you tap it into its Sport Plus or race modes, the transition is much more dramatic, and that makes it feel more special. But for the times that I actually want to just drive my luxury sports sedan like a luxury sedan, I'm more grateful for those comfort settings. And it's really nice for those times when you want to drive your Q car under the radar. I think I prefer the AMG. Of course, the Uber E-Class doesn't come cheap. It starts at $107,000, which is double the starting price of the regular E-Class. Of course, this one's around $125K because we've got options, but still, that is competitive with the BMW M5. And aside from maybe adding M-Bucks infotainment, which is a minor nitpick, I can't think of anything wrong with this car. Okay, so yeah, it's a little ironic that I prefer the E63 over the M5 because it's more comfortable in its comfort settings, but that just goes to show that we're all looking for something different from our sports sedan. I want to know what you look for when you're choosing a $100,000 sports sedan. Let us know in the comments below, and while you're down there, hit the subscribe button for even more cool reviews like this one from the Roadshow crew.